When you're setting up the back end of your coaching business, there are 5 things I recommend to ensure things run smoothly. First, you need a calendar scheduler so that your leads and your clients can schedule time with you without having to go back and forth asking like what time works or figuring out different time zones. And then you need a payment processor like Stripe or PayPal in order to accept payments electronically. Next, you need a contract signer because I'm not a lawyer, but I do think that there should always be a signed contract in place so that both you and your client know what to expect while working to each other, while working together. And then you need a video platform like Zoom or Google Meet if you plan to coach virtually. And lastly, you need a CRM, which is a customer relationship manager. So that way you can easily manage your growing client list, but you also have a place to store your notes and you always have a quick access to things like how many sessions does a client have left. Initially, you may set up all of these things using different platforms. For example, you may use Calendly for your scheduler, or if you're sending invoices, maybe you're using something like Wave Apps or FreshBooks. And then you could use DocuSign for getting contracts signed. And then you're probably using Zoom or Google Meet like most people do for, meeting virtually. And then for your CRM, you may just be using a spreadsheet or a spiral notebook, which, no shame in that, but there is a better way to handle all of these things. And that is the point of this video today. When I first started working with coaches as a tech strategist about 5 years ago, I was helping them set up their backends and creating client onboarding systems. And I noticed that this was a trend in that they were like duct taping different tools together in order to get their coaching programs sold. And after doing some research on how to simplify that, I found Paperbell. So if you found yourself having problems like I'm booked, but I feel disorganized, or I'm scared and that I forgot something, or one client got this document, but another client hasn't yet. If any of those feelings come up when someone buys your coaching program, the problem usually isn't the tools, it's that none of the tools are talking to each other. So sometimes things can get missed. And then add in wanting to offer a different coaching program. Maybe you're, selling one-on-one programs right now, but you want to eventually do a group program. Sometimes you don't have the tools that will do that. And then when you do find another tool, you got to figure out a way for that to talk to the other tool. And it just becomes chaos on the back end. And ultimately, it slows down you growing your business because every time you want to offer something, you feel like you just have to jump through a bunch of hoops. So, when I started recommending Paperbell to coaches and getting it set up for their business, ironically, the coaches who struggled the most with tech and not actually feeling techy did really well with it. And that's because it was built specifically for coaches. Then I created my Paperbell course that taught my setup, and I was so excited to see that I could actually teach coaches how to do this on their own so that they didn't necessarily have to hire me. So today I want to discuss what exactly is Paperbell in case you've never heard of it, or maybe you've heard of it and you're not quite sure if it's going to work for your business and you're just curious what it even looks like inside. You're in the right place. Paperbell is an all-in-one tool that handles scheduling, payments, contract signing, and client management. And my favorite part is that they offer a Paperbell shop feature, which makes it possible for you to have a digital storefront of all of your coaching offers without actually needing a website. However, they actually did make an update recently where they now do offer a website. And it's basically like a simple aesthetic homepage that connects to your Paperbell shop. But It's totally optional, and I think I'll actually just do a separate video on it so I can go more in depth about it, because I do have thoughts about whether or not you actually need a website to have a successful coaching business. But if you still have your shop set up and you don't want to use the website feature, that's totally fine, but it is there if you want it. Now, the benefit of using Paperbell is that you get to reduce the number of tools that you're currently using, and it also acts as a hub that connects everything that you need after a client says yes to working with you. So, for example, when a client says yes to work with you, all you need to do is send them the link to either your individual package that you're selling, or you can send them to your Paperbell shop and they can select what program they want. And then, depending on how you set things up on the back end, they will be walked through paying with a credit card, meaning you don't have to create an invoice, and then signing the contract electronically, and then filling out an intake form or intake survey if that's something that you require, before they start their coaching with you. And then it also lets them book their first session with you and then sends them the Zoom or Google Meet link automatically. And that's a full client onboarding flow, all completed from you just sending one Paperbell link to them versus first sending a calendar link and then sending an invoice and waiting for it to get paid, and then sending a contract and waiting for that to get signed, and then sending your intake survey hoping that that gets filled out. Do you see how it just makes everything so much more seamless because everything's handled all in one automatically? Let's go ahead and take a look inside and see what Paperbell looks like. All right, here's what you'll see when you first log into your Paperbell account. This is the demo account that I use inside of my course. And side note, I do have an announcement and update about my course, which I'll save to the end of the video. So if you care, be sure to stay for that. But when you log in, you'll first see your appointments, any upcoming appointments that you've had. And then you can go through these different tabs up top to manage your business. So first you'll see availability, and availability is something that you can set up once. It connects with your Google Calendar, which I love because if you add something to your Google Calendar that is during the availability that you set up here, then it'll automatically block that time from being able to be booked by a client. So, for example, I have Mondays 12 to 5 here, and let's say I have a doctor's appointment. I know I'm actually going to have to, leave at 4. I can update my Google Calendar and have a doctor's appointment at 4, so that way no one can book even though my availability is 12 to 5. So I like that that's very seamless. And then you have your packages. So this is where you're going to create everything you offer, whether it's free or paid. Everything starts with a package inside of Paperbell. And with each package, you'll create a landing page for it, and then it also connects to the Paperbell shop that I talked about, which I'll show in a moment. So with each package, you can add a little image if you want, so that way everything matches your branding. You can offer free calls, like maybe you have a free discovery call, and that's how someone determines if they can work with you. If you can offer one-on-one programs. So for example, this 90-day biz accelerator is a one-on-one program. If you have a group program, you can offer that. This is an example biz building academy that comes with multiple calls. And the nice thing about this is that not every tool out there actually functions properly if you try to offer group programs, because it gets a little technical when you have to send Zoom links and stuff to multiple people to show up at the same place and all that. So Paperbell has figured that out and it integrates very well. And then also, if you want to offer digital products or courses, you technically can do that too, because when someone books with you, they automatically receive a client portal, and the portal lets them log in and see any documents that you've provided to them. So technically, if you wanted to sell like this new business planner, they buy this, then log into their portal and they can download it from there. Or if you have a program where you want to provide them documents, maybe worksheets to fill out or videos to watch, you can add that to their portal so that way they can view them. Now, I will say a caveat to this is yes, technically you can sell courses, but Paperbell is not a primarily course platform. So you're not going to find like all the bells and whistles that a different course platform, like maybe Teachable, or what's the other one? I can't think of the other one right now, but the popular course programs that you or course platforms out there, it's not going to have all the bells and whistles like that because, again, this is primarily made for one on one and group coaching. But I like that you still have the option to do so. So you get your packages set up here, and then you also have a tab for keeping track of all of your clients. So these are just example clients. Don't worry, I'm not sharing anyone's personal information. So you can click into any of the clients that you have, add your notes, see what kind of, see their progress, see how many sessions they have left, things like that. And then you have a tab for sales. So it's going to keep track of all the sales that you've made through Paperbell. And then lastly, we have this website editor, which I haven't explored yet. Like I mentioned, I think I'm just going to make a totally separate video about it. And that's why they still have this notice up here, like your new and improved site, because I've not created it yet, but I'm excited to test it out and see if it's something that I think you should try too. Now, let's go back to the packages tab because I want to show you the Paperbell shop. So once you have all of your packages set up, then you can have your shop. So let me just go to the link here and share my screen. So here's what your shop could look like. You can customize the colors and, like I said, the images and things like that. And even if you have just if you had just one offer, one little square would show up here. In this case, I just fleshed out a few different offers so you could see what it, could look like as you grow. And so if you provide someone your shop link, it'll come here. They can click learn more, and it takes them to a landing page, which you can also customize. And from there, they can click book now. And then that's when they're taken through that onboarding process of making the payment, signing the contract, filling out a form if that's something that you need, and then booking a call with you. So like I mentioned before, here are the 5 parts of my backend tech framework. So make sure, even if you're not using Paperbell right now, you've got these set up so you can start getting clients. And in the next video, I'm going to go over other tools you may be using or considering instead of Paperbell, like Dubsado, and we'll do some comparisons and I'll help you determine which is best for your business. So be sure to stick around for that. And real quick, here's the update about my Paperbell course that I wanted to mention in case you've been following me for a while and you want to know. Right now, the course is offered inside my membership called the Backend Blueprint Hub. And inside, you get the course and some other trainings and bonuses that I offered that complement the course really well. And it was great. And all the coaches who joined last year and I feel like it's been open for about a year and a half now, saw great results. And now I've decided to close enrollment to the membership. And that's simply because although those coaches who joined found it really helpful, I just found that the extra content just wasn't really necessary. And it wasn't necessarily required to get the transformation that I was going for, which is create your automated client onboarding system inside of Paperbell. And then also just on the back end for me as the business owner, it's just more admin to do to manage a membership. And although I didn't hate it, it's just one of those business decisions I had to make. And I said, you know what? Starting the new year, we're going to simplify. And now I'm going to go back to offering the Paperbell course just as a standalone product without all the extras. And It's going to be just a one-time payment, not a like recurring membership payment. So my mission is not changing because I still am clearly a ride or die for Paperbell, and I think it is the best system for your coaching business. It's just the container is changing. So if you're ready to build your automated client onboarding system inside of Paperbell in 3 days or less, you can grab that link to the course in the description, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.